Sexual consent is a crucial part of any intimate relationship, whether it's a long-term partnership or a casual encounter. Unfortunately, misunderstandings about consent remain prevalent, often leading to uncomfortable or harmful situations. So how can we ensure that everyone involved understands, gives, and respects consent? Let's take a detailed look at the importance of sexual consent, how to communicate clearly, and practical tips for fostering a culture of respect in relationships. What is consent? A mutual agreement. Consent, in its simplest form, is a mutual agreement between individuals to engage in a specific activity. However, it goes far beyond a simple yes or no. True consent must be freely given, enthusiastic, and ongoing. This means that consent should be obtained without pressure, coercion, or manipulation, and should be revisited at every step of an intimate experience. Consent can be verbal or nonverbal, but it should always be clear. Nods, words like yes, and reciprocal actions are indications that the other person is comfortable. However, it's essential to avoid making assumptions. Explicit communication ensures that both partners feel respected and secure. Ongoing consent. It's not one and done. One of the biggest misconceptions about sexual consent is that it's a one-time deal. Consent must be ongoing, which means that it's something you check in on throughout an interaction. Just because someone consents to one activity, it doesn't mean they're agreeing to everything else. In practice, this might look like checking in with your partner by asking, "Is this still okay?" Or "Do you want to keep going?" This doesn't just apply to new partners. Even in long-term relationships, assumptions can lead to confusion or discomfort. Consent is about ensuring that both people feel good about every step of the encounter. Verbal consent. Clear communication. The most direct way to ask for consent is to use clear verbal communication. Simple questions like, "Can I kiss you?" or "Are you comfortable with this?" can eliminate ambiguity and ensure that both parties are on the same page. While it might feel awkward at first, framing consent as a positive, sexy part of the conversation can actually enhance intimacy. Verbal consent also helps avoid misunderstandings that can arise from relying on body language alone. For example, if a partner hesitates or seems unsure, asking them outright what they want can clear up any confusion and make the experience more enjoyable for both people. Nonverbal consent. Reading cues correctly. While verbal consent is ideal, nonverbal cues can also play a role in understanding your partner's comfort level. Smiling, making eye contact, and reciprocal touch are generally positive signs that someone is comfortable with the situation. However, it's important to be aware of negative nonverbal cues, such as pulling away, avoiding eye contact, or freezing up. Pay attention to your partner's body language, and if you notice signs of discomfort, pause and ask how they're feeling. Remember that consent can be withdrawn at any time, so it's critical to keep checking in, both verbally and non-verbally, throughout your interactions. Alcohol and consent, a complex issue. Alcohol and drugs can complicate the issue of consent. While it's not always illegal to have sex with someone who has been drinking, the line becomes blurred when one or both parties are intoxicated. The rule of thumb is that if someone is too impaired to make coherent decisions, they cannot give valid consent. Signs that a person is too intoxicated to consent include slurred speech, inability to stand or walk properly, or a lack of awareness of their surroundings. In these situations, it's best to wait until both parties are sober to avoid potential harm or misunderstanding. Consent must be freely given, and impaired judgment can prevent this from happening. Withdrawing consent. Always an option. One of the most critical aspects of consent is the understanding that it can be withdrawn at any moment for any reason. Just because someone agreed to a specific activity earlier doesn't mean they're bound to continue if they no longer feel comfortable. Consent is fluid and must remain a constant mutual agreement throughout the interaction. If a partner feels uneasy or changes their mind, they have the absolute right to stop the activity without facing any pressure or guilt. For example, someone may initially agree to intimate contact but later feel uncomfortable and ask to pause or stop. Their decision should be respected immediately, without hesitation. It's essential to create an environment where both individuals feel safe, in control of their bodies, and free to express changes in how they feel. Maintaining this dynamic of mutual respect not only honors personal boundaries, but also builds a deeper sense of trust and comfort within the relationship. It ensures that every encounter remains respectful and empowering for both partners. Enthusiastic consent, the new standard. In recent years, the concept of enthusiastic consent has become a widely embraced standard. This approach shifts the focus from merely avoiding a no to actively seeking a joyful, enthusiastic yes. Enthusiastic consent means that both partners are not only agreeing, but are fully engaged and excited about what's happening. If there's any hesitation, it's important to pause and talk openly about feelings, preferences, and comfort levels to ensure both partners feel good about continuing. Instead of assuming your partner is okay with something, it's better to directly ask questions like, "Are you enjoying this?" or "Do you want to keep going?" These conversations foster clear communication, prevent misunderstandings, and build stronger trust. This approach helps both partners feel more connected, valued, and respected, while creating a healthier, more enjoyable experience for everyone involved. Enthusiastic consent promotes a mutual desire to engage, making intimacy not just consensual, but also deeply satisfying for both parties. Consent in long-term relationships, it's still important. Even in long-term, committed relationships, consent should never be assumed. Just because two people have been intimate before doesn't mean consent is implied every time. Every new interaction is unique, and checking in with your partner regularly demonstrates respect for their evolving boundaries and desires. This ongoing communication not only ensures both partners feel safe and respected, but it can also deepen intimacy by reinforcing mutual trust and openness. In fact, openly discussing consent can strengthen emotional bonds, as partners may feel more at ease sharing their preferences and needs, leading to more fulfilling and enjoyable experiences for both individuals. Keeping consent at the forefront ensures that every encounter is rooted in mutual understanding and respect, regardless of how long the relationship has lasted. Handling rejection, respecting no without resentment. Hearing no in an intimate moment can be difficult, but it's important to understand that it's not a reflection of your worth or the relationship. A no simply indicates that your partner needs to uphold their personal boundary at that time, based on their comfort or emotions. Rather than feeling frustrated or trying to change their mind, the mature response is to accept their decision with grace and respect. By saying something like, "I respect your decision," you validate their feelings and build emotional trust. Respecting a no fosters a culture of open, honest communication, making it easier for both partners to express needs and boundaries in the future, ultimately leading to a more respectful and fulfilling relationship dynamic. Educating about consent. Starting conversations early. Teaching consent from an early age is crucial for fostering a culture of respect and understanding. Schools, parents, and communities must play active roles in discussing boundaries and communication. Before young people start dating or engaging in sexual activity, consent should be part of everyday life. Teaching children to ask for permission, respect personal space, and understand that no means no. Normalizing these discussions helps create a society that values mutual respect in all interactions. Clear, ongoing consent strengthens relationships by ensuring that everyone feels safe, comfortable, and valued. It's a dynamic, evolving process that requires active participation and regular communication. By keeping these conversations open, we create safer, more respectful spaces for all. Thanks for watching. Remember, clear and ongoing consent is key to healthy relationships. If you found this helpful, hit the like button. Subscribe for more content on relationships and communication, and share your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video.